Tonight, the top secret leak suspect in court. The suspect behind one of the largest top secret leaks in U.S. history appears before a federal judge as prosecutors argue he remains a national security risk. What happened next? Plus,
I don't believe that we should be the party of war. I don't believe that we should be the party of Wall Street. I don't believe that we should let neocons dictate our foreign policy, and I don't believe in censorship.
He's officially in the 2024 race and challenging President Biden. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joins us for an exclusive sit-down interview, the first since his 2024 announcement, and he discusses the Democratic Party, misinformation, the environment, and a lot more. And
so I just kind of do things that I know will entertain them, but I also try to build in little messages, like for confidence.
National icon Dolly Parton speaks with us about music, culture wars, and her newest children's book, and why it's important to tackle bullying. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the intense cross-examination of columnist E. Jean Carroll in her civil suit, accusing former President Trump of sexual assault and defamation, plus Brittany Griner's emotional words to the press, speaking out for the first time since her imprisonment in Russia, and the historic day for the military base is being renamed for two groundbreaking Army officers. Our correspondents are fanned out across the country covering those stories and much more for us tonight, but we do begin with a detention hearing for the Massachusetts Air National Guardsman accused of leaking classified documents. Today, prosecutors argued that Jack Teixeira should remain behind bars because he's too dangerous to release and a flight risk. They suggested foreign adversaries may try to contact or help him, given the amount of classified information he's viewed. And they also cited the arsenal they found in his home and prior social media posts about violence and murder. Teixeira's dad testified all of his firearms had been removed from his residence, and he would be prepared to report his son to authorities if necessary. Prosecutors also detailed allegations that led to a high school suspension and a psychiatric evaluation. And yet, Teixeira was still able to enlist and get access to America's secrets. Trevor Ault leads us off tonight from the court in Massachusetts.
In federal court today, prosecutors urging the judge to keep 21-year-old Jack Teixeira behind bars, calling him a serious flight risk who presents an ongoing threat to the nation. Their court filing painting a dark picture of a young man with racist and violent inclinations with a virtual arsenal of weapons at his parents' home, including bolt-action rifles, AR and AK-style weapons, and a bazooka. The DOJ says Teixeira once wrote in the online group where he allegedly leaked those classified documents, "If I had my way, I'd kill an expletive ton of people," that he claimed he was tempted to turn a minivan into an assassination van, and that in 2018 he was suspended from high school for remarks about weapons, including Molotov cocktails, guns at the school, and racial threats. They claim that prompted local police to deny him a firearms ID card, but still he managed to join the Massachusetts Air National Guard and gain top secret clearance. Prosecutors now accuse Teixeira of accessing far more secret information than the hundreds of pages he allegedly posted online, searching the classified government database almost daily, sometimes from a computer at his mother's home. They say once the news got out, he tried to cover his tracks, smashing his laptop and iPad, replacing his phone, deleting his posts, and telling members of his group not to talk to authorities. Prosecutors warn if Teixeira were to be released on bail, it would be all too easy for him to further disseminate classified information or to flee to a foreign country like Edward Snowden, who now lives in Russia. Today, Teixeira's father told the judge if his son were allowed to stay with him while awaiting trial, he would report any violations of the terms of release, insisting all firearms had been removed from the house. Teixeira's lawyers declare their client is not a flight risk, and that when Teixeira learned the feds were onto him, he didn't run away. He sat on the porch reading the Bible, waiting to be arrested.
Trevor Ault joins us now from Worcester, Massachusetts. And Trevor, the judge has yet to rule on whether Teixeira will be released pending trial. But tonight, after the latest claims about him by the Justice Department, many are questioning why he was granted access to some of the government's most sensitive secrets in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely, Lindsay. And the Pentagon says they do have a continuous vetting process for security clearances. We're told President Biden says he has full confidence in the Department of Defense. This investigation is still ongoing, but many are wondering how Teixeira was trusted with a top secret clearance when local police at the same time were saying he couldn't be trusted to own a gun. Lindsay.
All right, Trevor Ault for us. Thanks so much, Trevor. Now to severe weather continuing to threaten the southern United States. 15 million people on alert, and now the Midwest is bracing as those storms and snowmelt threaten to push the Mississippi over its banks. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is in St. Paul, Minnesota tonight.
Tonight, those severe storms slamming the south for a third straight day, with a life-threatening tornado reported in the Florida Panhandle.
Shelter now. Shelter now. Not a question. Do it now. You got a tornado moving in your direction.
These homes in Hosford, Florida, taking a direct hit. Roofs gone, trees snapped like toothpicks. In Panama City Beach, at least one person reportedly struck by lightning this afternoon.
What happened?
And a lightning strike in Fort Worth Wednesday, sending 2 boys to the hospital. Neighbors rushing the 7- and 13-year-old in. Those same storms brought huge hail to Dublin, Texas. Livestock running for cover. And 85-mile-per-hour winds hammering Melbourne, Florida Wednesday, and more hail than many have ever seen. As those storms make their way into the Northeast, the fast-rising Mississippi River is flooding towns in the heartland.
Here at the St. Paul downtown airport, that lit up X is to tell pilots do not land here because this runway is closed in part because they put up this temporary flood wall to keep the river back.
Record-breaking snowfall now melting, forcing rivers over their banks and into neighborhoods in towns like Moline to Davenport, where the river won't crest until next week.
The big melt is on. Rob Marciano joins us now. Rob, where's the system headed next?
Well, it's in the Florida Panhandle now. This is the same system that brought all that hail and tornadoes to Texas, and obviously a tornado to the Panhandle. Look at it on the radar. It's really intense, moving across the Big Bend area there. It'll move towards Jacksonville. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch up until 10 o'clock for the east coast of Florida, east coast of Georgia, and now they just issued one back in through Memphis, where the center of the low is, and in through the northern part of Mississippi. So most of the damaging storms, at least in the east coast, should move off to the ocean overnight tonight, but heavy rain with embedded thunderstorms during the day tomorrow as this whole system moves up and north and to the east. The Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, D.C., Delaware, increasing rain throughout the morning and then pushing up into New York City by tomorrow night and increasing into the morning hours on Saturday. And another pulse, I think they got to kind of get stuck in the Northeast on Sunday. So it looks to be pretty much a washout from Washington, D.C. up through Boston. Meanwhile, we reset the severe weather table in Texas. Dallas and Waco under the gun again tomorrow for large hail, possibly tornadoes. And we're watching, of course, the rivers continue to rise along the Mississippi. River towns in Iowa, in Illinois, and Wisconsin, and here in Minnesota continue to deal with flooding. The crest is moving south. 32 river gauges, though, in all in major flood stage as we try to unload this massive winter snowpack that we built up the past few months. Lindsay?
Rob Marciano, our thanks to you. Today, Vice President Mike Pence testified before a federal grand jury investigating attempts to overturn the 2020 election. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, there was an effort to prevent Pence from testifying just 24 hours ago. Tell us about that.
Lindsay, sources are telling us that the former vice president appeared before the grand jury for roughly 5 hours. Special counsel Jack Smith clearly seeing Pence as a critical witness in his investigation into whether former President Trump broke any laws in his efforts to overturn the last election. Pence initially filed a subpoena calling on him to testify, but eventually agreed to do so. He has perhaps the ultimate insider's point of view. He can speak to the pressure he was under to block Joe Biden's certification as president and may have knowledge of the scheme to bring fake electors to Washington to somehow keep Trump in office. We now know from sources that this has been a heavy focus of the special counsel, who is clearly entering the final phase of his investigation. Lindsay?
Pierre Thomas for us. Thanks so much, Pierre. Next tonight, the intense cross-examination of columnist E. Jean Carroll in her civil suit accusing former President Donald Trump of sexual assault and defamation. Trump's lawyer attacking her motive and her waiting so long to speak out, but also questioning why she's unable to say for sure when the alleged assault took place. ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse.
Tonight, Donald Trump's attorney grilling E. Jean Carroll, accusing her of making up a rape story to sell a book. You thought including the story about Donald Trump while he was still president would help sell the book? Defense attorney Joe Tacopina asked. I thought so, Carroll replied, but I was wrong. The book never sold well. Carroll said the reason she decided to tell her story after more than 2 decades was not money, but the Me Too movement. When a wave of women came forward to tell their stories of abuse, Carroll says it caused me to realize that staying silent does not work. For hours, Tacopina tried to pick apart Carol's claim that Trump attacked her in a department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. He questioned why she never called police and pressed her on why she couldn't say exactly when the alleged attack occurred. Carol answering, "I wish to heaven we could give you a date." Carol was consistent and composed, losing patience only when Tacopina asked her why she didn't scream during the alleged attack. "You were in this battle and you never screamed for help?" he asked her. "I'm not a screamer," Carol responded. "People always ask, why didn't you scream? Some women scream, some don't. He raped me whether I screamed or not."
Aaron Katersky joins us now. And Aaron, what did Carol say in response to the questioning of her motives in this case?
Well, Carol has been defending her motives throughout her testimony yesterday and today. She says it's not about the money, it's about getting my name back. And she said getting attention for being raped is hard. Now, her testimony, Lindsay, is not over. There's no court on Fridays, so she'll be back here on Monday to continue her cross-examination. Lindsay?
Aaron Katersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. 3 18-year-olds accused of killing a young woman in a rock-throwing spree in Colorado appeared before a judge today. Court documents allege chilling new details, including that one of the teens took a photo of the victim's car, quote, as a memento. ABC's Mola Langi has the latest.
Tonight, new details emerging as 3 teens face first-degree murder charges in that deadly rock-throwing spree outside Denver, Colorado. According to an arrest affidavit, suspect Mitch Karolchik telling police he was traveling in a pickup truck with Zachary Kwok and Joe Koenig as they hurled rocks at passing cars. This rock, police say, crashing through Alexa Bartel's windshield, fatally striking her in the head. Karolchik and Kwok allegedly telling police the trio drove back to the crime scene moments later to take a picture of Bartel's car as a memento. The affidavit also says Karolchik admitted to throwing objects at cars with Koenig since last February, at least on 10 separate days, and that, according to Kwok, after Bartel's car was struck, the other two were talking about them now being blood brothers, agreeing to not speaking of the incident again. Police say cell phone tower data and tips from the public led them to the high school seniors. The spree last week hitting 7 cars in just 45 minutes, among them Nathan Tipton's minivan.
If it was a second earlier, it would have come at my window and hit me. Either square in the chest or maybe even the face.
Mola Langi joins us now. Mola, some really disturbing information revealed today. What was the reaction like in the gallery?
Well, Lindsay, some people were visibly upset in the courtroom gallery upon hearing some of those details, and even more so when the defense requested bond for the suspects. Some people in the gallery mouthing no. Now, that bond was ultimately denied by the judge, and all 3 suspects remain in custody tonight. Lindsay?
All right, Mola Langi for us. Thanks so much, Mola. One of the 4 inmates who escaped a Mississippi detention center has been taken into custody outside of Houston. Jerry Raines was handcuffed in Spring Valley, Texas, and is now facing extradition. This comes after a standoff with Mississippi police led to the death of Dylan Arrington. 2 out of the 4 inmates remain at large. NBA star Brittany Griner got emotional today as she spoke to reporters for the first time since her imprisonment in Russia. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman was at the news conference in Phoenix.
Brittany Griner walked into a room full of journalists and months of anticipation. There was an ovation. And with her first comments to reporters about her 10 months of detention in Russia, tears.
I'm no stranger to hard times, so you're going to be faced with adversities throughout your life. This was a pretty big one.
Today, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and Washington Post all running ads demanding Russia release detained Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, calling his arrest the latest in a disturbing trend. I asked Griner about that.
During your detention, were you aware of all of the efforts on your behalf? And what message would you send to Evan and Paul Whelan today?
Yes, I was aware. It made me a little bit have hope, which is a really hard thing to have. And I would say to everyone that is wrongfully detained right now across the world, stay strong, keep fighting.
Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. Legendary talk show host Jerry Springer, who helped push the boundaries of daytime television, has died. He was the mayor of Cincinnati, a news anchor, and of course hosted his namesake show that unleashed chaos to viewers across the country. It was a ratings giant for 27 years. Here's our Ariel Reshef.
He was the talk show host who became a fixture in pop culture, stirring up chaos and confrontation on set for nearly 3 decades. Jerry Springer ushered in a new era in daytime TV, the ringmaster of a daily circus. But he was unapologetic, chalking it up to escapist entertainment.
Stupidest show on television, I know that. It's silly, it's outrageous. But because it's so crazy, people kind of enjoy it.
A lawyer with political ambition, Springer became a city councilman, then mayor of Cincinnati, even making a run for Ohio governor. But after a scandal, he pivoted to the news business and later showbiz. At one point, the Jerry Springer Show even beating Oprah in the ratings. In his later years, Springer appearing on a new generation of reality TV shows like Dancing with the Stars.
I don't know what the legacy, there is no legacy. I'm a schlub who got lucky, treat people well. That's what the memory should be. Everything else is vanity.
Jerry Springer was 79.
Our thanks to Ariel. Springer passed away peacefully in his home after a brief illness. His family says he's irreplaceable, but his intellect, heart, and humor will live on. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. Coming up, a call for reparations from former inmates, the experiments they say were performed on them in prison. Plus, country music icon Dolly Parton talks to us about her latest creative project, how her new book is teaching kids to be kind. The next 2024 Democratic presidential candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is going up against a sitting president for the nomination. I sat down to talk with him about his policies and the members of his famous family and how they're deciding if they're going to go for him or not. And I'm just curious, if you are not able to get your own sisters to vote for you for president, how would you make that appeal to American voters?
What is your family like? Do they agree with everything that you say and do?
They'd probably vote for me if I ran for president.
Whenever news breaks,
the crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live. ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now.
But a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead.
An alert this morning for dog owners.
And the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back. Earlier this week, President Biden announced that he'll seek the White House for a second term, but that's not stopping some challengers. And the latest entrant comes from political royalty. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently announced that he'll run against Biden, and he may have some supporters on his side. A new Fox News poll shows some 19% of likely Democratic voters say that they'd like to see RFK Jr. win the nomination. RFK Jr. is one of the biggest voices pushing anti-vaccine rhetoric, regularly distributing misinformation and disinformation about vaccines, which scientific and medical experts overwhelmingly say are safe and effective based on rigorous scientific studies. But can a Kennedy break through in 2024? Will RFK Jr.'s controversial stances limit his appeal? I sat down with him earlier today to ask him about his campaign and trying to take on the president. So tell us, why did you decide to run for president?
I felt like my country was being taken away from me. I felt like I wanted my children to grow up with the same pride in our country and the same love for our country and the same idea that we had this, this idealism, these opportunities in our country, and that we had, communities that were filled with dignity and enrichment, and that we were an exemplary nation. And that those things are being lost. And they're being lost because, for a lot of reasons, but really because of the rise of corporatism in this country and this addiction that we have to war. And my party also is becoming the party of war, the party of censorship, the party of fear, and the party of, the neocons and Wall Street. And I just felt like I was in a unique opportunity to change that.
And how so? You've never held a political position before. Obviously, you've been in environmental law for more than 3 decades. But what do you feel qualifies you for the highest position in the land?
I think I know more about how to fix regulatory agencies than any other politician in this country, because I've spent 40 years suing them. And when you sue a regulator, you get kind of a PhD in how they work and how to unravel this kind of culture of corporate capture and corruption. And there are ways we can fix these agencies, and we can do it very quickly.
Well, how would you do that? I want to just, because you've been very critical on multiple government agencies, from the CIA, the EPA, the DOT, the CDC, the FDA. If you were to become president, you would effectively be the boss of all of these agencies that you've cast so many aspersions on and said publicly that there's so much distrust there. How would you run them if you don't?
And let me say this, Lindsay. I think most of the people, 90% of the people in those agencies are good Americans. They're good public servants. They're patriots. They are idealistic, and they want to do their job. The problem is the people who rise to power in those agencies usually are the people who are in the tank with industry, who are willing to carry water for the industry, and they're the ones that last for 50 years. They rise because they're willing to do favors for industry and take directions from industry.
Why do you feel that you should challenge Joe Biden?
I've known Joe Biden for 40 years. He's friends with my family. I've considered him a friend. His approach to government and to the Democratic Party is, to me, is completely different than the way. I don't believe that we should be the party of war. I don't believe that we should be the party of Wall Street. I don't believe that we should let neocons dictate our foreign policy, and I don't believe in censorship, for starters. And those are all values that are traditional Democratic Party values that this White House has departed from.
The DNC has said, as you're well aware, that they are going to support Biden. They're not going to even hold any primary debates. Do you plan on pushing back on that?
Well, I think it's troubling that if we don't have debates. I mean, particularly, Lindsay, at this point in history, there's so many Americans who believe that our democracy is broken, that the system is rigged against them. And I think it's really, incumbent on the Democratic Party to act as a template, to make this election a template for democracy, and saying, we're going to have debates, we're going to have open discussion, we're going to let the people decide. We're not going to have party leaders decide who are going to be our primary like they did in the Soviet Union.
The other day when you made your announcement that you were going to run for president, you invoked your dad when he was running for president back in 1968. I'd like to take a listen.
He was running against a president of his own party. He was running against a war. He was running at a time of unprecedented polarization in our country. And he had no chance of winning. My father, when he declared, had not a single molecule in him that he believed that he could win the Democratic nomination.
Do you have a single molecule that you believe that you can win?
I actually think I can win. But, I'm not a soothsayer. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to campaign. I'm going to talk to Americans. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And then, well, it's in God's hands whether I win or not. I'm going to take the action and do what I need to do.
If you don't win during the primary, would you consider an independent run?
I plan to win the primary. I'm going to run a campaign that is respectful to the president, but allows me to challenge him on the issues. And if people prefer to my view of what this country should look like and where it should be headed, then I'll win. If they don't, I don't think they're going to go away with any additional antipathy toward the president.
There are those, as I'm sure you're aware, who have criticized or questioned just how loyal you are to the Democratic Party. Do you wholeheartedly, full-throated say, yes, I'm a Democrat?
I'm a Democrat. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running as a Democrat. But I am not loyal to any party above principles. I'm loyal to the principles that the Democratic Party has always stood for. That is why I am running for president today, to make sure that those people, those lost, forgotten Americans who feel this system is rigged against them, who feel forgotten by both political parties, that they feel like they can be included once again in the political process.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
I think the public perception of me is just a bundle of misperceptions. I mean, part of that is just not being vilified for 3 years without any, but much longer than that, but for the last 3 years with total blanket censorship. I welcome what I've done. I'm at peace with, with the choices that I've made. And I understand I'm living in a world where I'm opposing large forces that are very, very powerful and are able to silence me. But yeah, I wouldn't know where to begin in telling you where what the biggest misperceptions are about me. If you go through them one at a time, I'll answer them.
What do you think is the fairest criticism
of me?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've got as many defects as I do have assets. I told my wife I have more skeletons in my closet. I have so many that if they could vote, I could, win president of the world by a landslide. So I'm not a guy who, who's coming to you and saying I'm a perfect human being. I'm not. I've had a really, I've had a rich life. Let me put it that way. I'm coming here because I believe in something, and I think people know that if I believe in something, that number one, you can change my mind if you confront me with facts. Number two, if you don't change my mind with facts, I'm going to stick to my guns, and nobody can move me.
So you say this, but then there are known conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones, Steve Bannon. You go on their talk shows and at the same time tell America that media is lying to you.
Well,
how do you square that with voters?
First of all, those are two different issues. One issue is, should I be talking to Republican platforms? That's a completely different issue. When I go on those platforms, I'm not lying to people. I'm telling the truth.
But you legitimize the platforms.
It doesn't matter. To me, there's no way that you can overcome the polarization without talking to people on the other side. How do you? And I've done that my whole life. When I was, 30 years, one of the leading environmentalists in the country, I was the only environmentalist who would go on Fox News. And some environmentalists would say, you shouldn't go on there and legitimize it. I said, I want to talk to that audience. If we don't talk to them, how can we persuade them? So I will talk to anybody.
You've said in the past that there is a correlation between vaccines leading to autism. That's totally been debunked.
Wait a minute, who debunked it?
We have not seen any kind of scientific connection from the CDC, the World Health Organization, the National Academy of Sciences.
Those organizations are captive agencies, Lindsay.
And so you think they're all in cahoots?
Yeah, they're all captive.
You've discussed the Kennedy family. As like any family, there are disagreements. But I think what makes it different here is that several of your relatives have not just said that they disagree with you, but they've called you dangerous. And as you're probably well aware, there were two of your siblings and a niece who wrote in a Politico article back in 2019, he's helped to spread dangerous misinformation over social media and is complicit in sowing distrust of science behind vaccines. We stand behind him in his ongoing fight to protect our environment. However, on vaccines,
he's wrong. Your sister Carrie has said, I love my brother Bobby, but I do not share or endorse his opinions on many issues, including the COVID pandemic, vaccinations, and the role of social media platforms in policing false information. Your sister Rory has said, I admire his past work as an environmentalist. Because of him, we can swim in the Hudson, but due to a wide range of Bobby's positions, I'm supporting President Biden. I'm just curious, if you are not able to get your own sisters to vote for you for president, how would you make that appeal to American voters?
What is your family like? Do they agree with everything that you say and do?
They'd probably vote for me if I ran for president.
Yeah, well, I have siblings who will vote for me as well, but I have a big family, and many of them will not. I have 2 siblings who came to my announcement, and a lot of other relatives as well. But, I mean, there's disagreements. But, you know, I love my family. And, you know, my family in particular, we grew up arguing with each other. And we are very, very, I think, say, comfortable disagreeing with each other, both publicly and privately on issues, and at the same time loving each other. And that's something that I think is a lesson that we ought to learn for this country. We can disagree with each other without hating each other, without vilifying each other, without marginalizing each other.
I'm just making a distinction on just using your family's words, calling you dangerous. I was just using your family's words to call you dangerous, rather than saying that's not like the typical family that might have disagreements around the kitchen room
table.
table.
And how do you expect me to respond to that, other than saying they were wrong about the issue, that they consider me dangerous?
Oh, that's a fair response. And my other point is just that if you don't regard the same scientific authorities...
Science is rarely static. There are very few scientific principles that are immovable. Science is dynamic. And, you know, look, I've argued over I've litigated over 500 lawsuits. In every one of those lawsuits, there are experts, authorities on one side, and experts and authorities on the other that are saying the exact opposite thing. So no, I don't trust authority. I need to see the details. I need to see the science.
Your final pitch to voters.
My pitch would be that, you know, we need to look at what's happened to our country. We need to try to arrest this emergence of corporatism, of the corrupt merger of state and corporate power that's undermining our values, that's strip mining our landscapes, that is stealing the assets of the middle class of this country, that is compromising the values of this country, that's keeping us in a constant state of war, and that is creating a nation that doesn't resemble the nation that, you know, we all love, which is a nation with a handful of billionaires and widespread poverty, in which democracy does not have a prayer of continuing. And let's try to take a new path that will allow us to give our children a country that is, once again, a moral authority around the globe, an exemplary nation, and that has a booming middle class in this country that can sustain democracy.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship between vaccination and autism. Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children, and major medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the advocacy group Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment in not including extended portions of that exchange in our interview. We thank Mr. Kennedy for the conversation. Still much more to get to. Coming up, the new details as a man is accused of killing his wife, what prosecutors say was the motivation for her murder, what a new study reveals about a rising number of teenage girls experiencing suicidal thoughts and behaviors. But next, a historic day for the military as a base is renamed for 2 groundbreaking Army officers. We take a look at their lives and careers by the numbers.
More Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital. Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Brooke Shields, the most photographed woman in the world.
A sexualized child model.
Exploitation.
What happened to her isn't really about her, it's just about women.
I let myself be vulnerable, and this is the first time I've ever spoken about what happened. I thought my one no should have been enough, you know.
When someone like Brooke Shields talks about it, it makes a difference.
I'm amazed that I survived any of it.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. Been a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live.
You never know what you're going to get on this show. That's all I'm going to tell you. Yes, Whoopi!
Is this mic on? Can you hear me out there?
Behind the scenes is always a better show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what people don't see during the commercial break.
Right, they don't.
What happened?
I had no idea really what I was getting myself into.
That day that we walked out, I treasure that day. I couldn't sit there.
You're doing good, Joy. You're doing good.
Oh, yeah, baby. It was crazy.
Behind the Table. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. I had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the, nah, girl, you're good.
Impact by Night in the Morning to be heard. America's #1 morning show.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
Wherever the story, ABC's Good Morning America is right there.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
I hope that this community will look with pride on the name Fort Gregg Adams, and that the name will instill pride in every soldier entering our mighty gates.
That was retired Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg. He is now the only living person in modern Army history to have an installation named after him. He's one of 2 Black Army officers honored today at a ceremony renaming Fort Lee to Fort Gregg Adams. And we have a look at the lives and careers of Lieutenant General Gregg and Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams by the numbers. Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg's 36-year military logistics career began back in 1946. A trained medical lab technician, he was told that there weren't any hospital jobs for Black soldiers and assigned to a truck company in West Germany. He rose to staff sergeant when he was just 18. When he was 22, he completed officer candidate school. In 1966, he commanded one of the largest battalions in Vietnam, earning the Meritorious Unit Citation. He continued to rise through the Army and in 1977 earned his 3rd star, becoming the first African-American to reach lieutenant general in the U.S. Army. When he retired in 1981, he was the Army's highest-ranking minority. Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Adams joined the Army back in 1942. She became the first black officer in the Women's Auxiliary Corps and led the first predominantly black WAC unit to serve overseas. Under her leadership, the 688 Central Post Directory Battalion processed 17 million pieces of mostly backlog mail for U.S. military personnel in Europe. When her unit was deployed to England, the Army expected the job to take 6 months. Adams' unit had it done in 3 months, often working in hangars without heat or air conditioning. They went on to do the same work in France. At the end of the war, when she was 27 years old, Adams was promoted to become the highest-ranking black woman in the Army. Fort Gregg Adams is one of 9 Army installations being renamed to remove names and symbols that commemorate the Confederacy or those who supported it. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. A peacock's wild night on the town, how this colorful bird spent a night in New York City after escaping from a zoo. And she's a living legend whose music and philanthropy have touched millions. Dolly Parton tells us about how her new book is teaching children to stand up to bullying.
It's really important for the acceptance of other children, the diversity, to accept people as they are.
What does it take to be America's #1 news? It takes asking the straightforward, tough questions.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
The news-making interviews.
You said that there were 6 friends. One of them was sick.
Yeah.
Do you have future political aspirations?
Going to the front line.
The search for survivors. How does this war end?
And getting to the heart of the story.
Thank you for being here. We'll be here for the long run.
ABC News, #1 in the morning, the #1 newscast, #1 in daytime talk, Friday nights, Sunday mornings versus the competition, and the #1 streaming news. Thank you for making ABC News America's trusted, straightforward first choice.
With so much happening these days, it's hard to keep up.
Things change hour by hour, minute by minute.
The historic weather that's now unfolding.
The worries on Wall Street.
We're bringing you the Right Now. Been a nationwide teacher shortage.
The Right Now look at the day ahead. An alert this morning for dog owners and the key takeaways from the biggest stories.
World News Now and America This Morning, America's #1 early morning news.
Today does feel a little different. Early mornings on ABC News Live. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. I had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad. Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the "nah, girl, you're good."
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
13 women opened their doors to the man who would end their lives.
Truth and Lies, The Boston Strangler, the new true crime podcast series. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts and watch Boston Strangler starring Keira Knightley, streaming on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
New details revealed as a man accused of killing his wife appeared in court. An escaped animal spends a wild night in New York City, and the White House press secretary is questioned by a special group of reporters. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
A Massachusetts man arrested in the murder of his wife pled not guilty in her killing. Brian Walsh was indicted by a grand jury last month for the death of his wife, Anna Walsh, who had been missing since New Year's Day. Prosecutors said that Brian suspected Anna was having an affair and that his mother hired a private investigator to watch her. They also said Anna told a friend on December 28th that she believed Brian would be jailed in an art fraud case, and she was prepared to leave him. Brian Walsh was ordered held without bail with his next court appearance set for August. A new CDC report reveals a surge in the number of teenage girls experiencing suicidal thoughts and behaviors. The Youth Risk Behavior Study said that 30% of high school female students had seriously considered suicide in 2021, up from just over 24% in 2019. The survey also said the percentages of those surveyed who had made a suicide plan and the number of girls who said they attempted suicide also had risen. The survey follows an earlier CDC report that revealed teen girls were experiencing record high levels of feelings of sadness and acts of violence. Former inmates who were experimented on while serving time in a Philadelphia prison are calling for reparations. Inmates who served time at the Holmesburg prison during the 1950s and 1970s were used as test subjects for medical experiments conducted by the University of Pennsylvania. A few of the inmates shared their experiences at a gathering at St. Joseph's University Wednesday.
They put some kind of radiation on my back in 4 places, and when my skin came back, it was like leather.
The inmates and families said those who profited from the experiments should pay reparations.
A Bronx Zoo peacock got to spend a little time outside the zoo. The peacock had perched itself on a tree in the Bronx Wednesday night after flying off zoo grounds. During its escape, the bird reportedly pecked at a man's leg when he tried to help it. The bird perched itself in the tree into Thursday, drawing a crowd of onlookers. It has since reportedly returned to its home in the zoo.
A 7th grader being called a hero after trouble on a bus.
It's the quick thinking and the quick actions of Dylan Reeves that has the 7th grader being hailed as a hero. His school bus driver passed out behind the wheel when dropping off students from Carter Middle School in Warren, Michigan. Dylan saw the driver in distress. As he was getting lightheaded and losing consciousness, he jumped to the front and helped bring that bus to a complete stop. The students were able to get off safely and onto another bus. The superintendent praising Dylan, saying he couldn't be prouder of his efforts.
The White House took part in Take Your Children to Work Day, giving kids the full experience of working at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. In the briefing room, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre took a series of questions from children of the press corps, including Matthew Anderson, the son of ABC News' own Karen Travers.
My question is, what is the U.S. sending to Ukraine?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question.
Later, the president himself took questions on the South Lawn, where he was grilled on his favorite ice cream.
I may be among the dullest presidents in the world because I'm known for 2 things: my Ray-Ban sunglasses and chocolate chip ice cream.
The woman who accused Emmett Till of making improper advances before he was lynched in Mississippi has died. Carolyn Brandt Donham has been receiving end-of-life hospice care after battling cancer. In August of 1955, Till was visiting relatives, and after the accusations, he was brutally murdered after being kidnapped. The injustice and cruelty of the 14-year-old's murder became a catalyst to the civil rights movement. Next to a foreclosure fight playing out in front of the Supreme Court. In roughly a dozen U.S. states, if you owe back taxes, the government can seize your home, the money you owe, and the entire equity. Our senior national correspondent Steve Osinsami reports.
Tawanda Hall doesn't live here anymore, and it wasn't her choice.
You wish you still lived here?
There's a lot of good memories here.
Back in 2010, Hall and her husband paid $67,000 in cash for what was their dream home in the suburbs of Detroit, with 5 bedrooms and good schools nearby. And she says they put everything they had into making it look like it does now.
So you guys did all of this?
Yes.
But in 2012, and then again in 2016, she says they fell behind on paying their county property taxes, and they owed about $23,000 in tax, interest, and penalties when her husband found an eviction notice on the garage door.
They were taking the house. We started scrambling, trying to figure out what's going on.
And what answer were you getting?
It's too late. There's nothing you can do.
But she says the painful surprise was just getting started. In a series of moves over 8 months that were legal, property records show that the county foreclosed on her home because of those back taxes, sold it to the city, who then quickly sold it to a for-profit company that says they made further improvements to the property. That company then sold the house to a new family for $308,000, nearly 5 times what the Halls paid in 2010 and about $285,000 more than their unpaid tax bill. And they gave nothing to Tawanda Hall.
Do you know what happened to the profit of the sale of your home?
No, I don't know who has the money.
You didn't get that money.
I didn't get any money.
Not a penny.
Not a penny.
Her husband died of pneumonia in the middle of all this, and she believes the stress of it all didn't help.
I owe you $22,000. At least give me whatever is extra so that we can try to start over.
Michigan's top court now says the county was wrong to take her home without paying her, but the issue is under appeal, and none of this gets her any money. And similar laws still stand in 11 other states and in Washington, D.C. A homeowner can lose all the equity they've earned in a home when the local government takes the house to cover an unpaid tax bill.
In a small minority of states, the money is not returned back to the homeowner. The municipality just keeps it.
In Massachusetts alone, one study found that over a 6-year period, these municipalities kept an estimated $60 million. A state senator here is trying to change the law.
When I look at the law in Massachusetts, it enables this kind of shenanigan. That's why I called it legalized corruption or legalized thievery or legalized larceny. I would not say those words lightly.
Christina Martin is Tawanda Hall's attorney. She and her legal team have found nearly 9,000 other families across the country in this same trouble.
It's just like if you owed me $14 and I reached in your wallet and I took everything, no matter how much was in your wallet.
This week, she argued one of her cases before the U.S. Supreme Court, a 94-year-old grandmother from Minnesota who owed $15,000. And when the county sold her condo for $40,000, they kept the change.
The government should never be allowed to take more than what it's owed. Yes, it can tack on the interest, penalties, and collection costs, but when it goes beyond that, that is unconstitutional. I hope the Supreme Court agrees.
We will see if they do. Our thanks to Steve Osunsami for that. She is one of the most iconic performers of all time. Singer, songwriter, actress, philanthropist, businesswoman, and author. Dolly Parton never stops creating. Her latest achievement, a children's book, Dolly Parton's Billy the Kid Makes It Big, about a dog who travels to Nashville to chase his dreams, meeting bullies and making friends all along the way. I got a chance to sit down with the living legend to talk about why it's so important to tackle bullying, her journey to success, and the kind of legacy she wants to leave from her remarkable career. You've said before, after a certain age, they'll say you're over. Well, I will never be over. You are 77 years old and still not over. What's the secret to that?
Well, I think you need to stay busy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I think energy begets energy, and I think creative energy is a great force. And I just really just enjoy my work.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
And every day I see something that needs to be done, so I can't just rest on my laurels, as they say. So I'll keep going till I fall over, I guess.
And so now you have your third children's book. Obviously, you started out writing songs, but now that you're writing for children, what about that do you enjoy?
Well, I enjoy it because I love children. I'm very close to my brothers and sisters. And there's 8 younger than me in my family. And then I love all my little nieces, nephews, grandnieces, and nephews. I'm like a fairy godmother to them. And I know the nature of children, and I feel what they feel, and I have a childlike nature myself, and I know what makes me happy and what's fun. So I just kind of do things that I know will entertain them, but I also try to build in little messages, you know, like for confidence, or don't bully, don't be a smart aleck, you know, that kind of thing.
You've done that before in your songs, obviously, with Making Fun Ain't Funny.
Don't belittle someone else. That's not the thing to do. It's not, is it?
Encouraging kids not to bully. And we see that also in the book. How do you go about deciding, you know, this is the message I'm going to put out there for kids?
Well, I think that's certainly the last few years. Kids are even bullied more. It's really important for the acceptance of other children, the diversity, you know, to accept people as they are. That spice of life, I believe in. You know, if we were all the same and everything was just what you believe or how you see things, you know, what a boring life this would be. This is, of course, written for 4 to 7-year-old, but everybody that's read it, they just love it, the little illustrations and knowing that I used a little animal to, you know, pass the message along.
Tell us about your love for animals. What is it about using Billy the Kid as your star?
Well, Billy is my little god dog. I've loved him since he was a puppy, and I think children relate to animals more than they do to people when they're little, for the most part, because they all want a puppy. If you take a little animal to get your message across, they'll have a tendency to listen more because they relate to that more. It's more of a gentle spirit, more like their little spirit.
And you have Billy the Kid in the storyline who loves his friends, loves music. Are there some parallels with your own story there?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's about Billy going to Nashville to try to make it, and then he meets a bunch of people saying, you're in the wrong place, you need to go back home, you don't fit in here and all that, and to make him kind of think, well, maybe I don't, but then he meets the other friends that do encourage him. And then they not only do that, they come across the big bullies, and then they find the ways around the bullies and how to continue on with their little dreams.
You've said in the past, find out who you are and do it on purpose. How did you first find out who you were? Because I've read that you were on TV before your family even had a TV.
I was, that's true. We were just mountain poor people, and we had just begun to get electricity. But we had moved out of the mountain, the deep mountains, and we had a TV, and so I was on it. And so I made a little money doing the show because I'd work there in the summers. And so I wanted them to see me on TV, so I bought us a television.
Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb, because this dumb blonde ain't nobody's fool.
How did you find out that you had that special spark, that you had that talent?
Well, I'm from a family of music. All my mom's people are very musical. They play different instruments and they all sing. We grew up singing in the church, too. I could write songs and I'd get a lot of attention, with doing that. I found out early I wanted the attention. So that was a good way of doing it. So it just grew from there.
I was gathering flowers at the foot of a hill.
I was playing guitar, learned to play at 7. And so I'd write some serious songs after that. I always say my songs are like my children, and I expect them to support me when I'm old. That's my joke, but it's the truth, and they have, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
So you're going to be hosting the ACMs. This is not your first rodeo, but Garth Brooks, this is going to be his first time. Any advice for him?
Oh, no, he is such a pro, and he's just a marketing genius, too. I don't know why he never hosted before, and we've always liked each other, and we appreciate each other. We'll have a script, and we'll have jokes, and we'll have things that we have to have for direction in order to make the transitions to commercials back and forth.
Oh, don't be nervous. I'm going to be right here with you.
But I guarantee you we're going to do more ad-lib than we will reading off a script.
You ever think about what you'd want your legacy to be?
There's a lot of wonderful things that's happened to me. I think one of the things I'm proudest of is the Imagination Library. But of course, I'm a writer and a singer, and I'm in both Songwriter Hall of Fame, the big one, the country music, and the other one up there with the big guys. I'm just trying to leave as much stuff. I just want to see how much I can do in a lifetime. And I've been blessed, and I've been lucky, and I don't take any of that for granted, but I just wanted to be remembered well.
Our thanks to Dolly for that. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. And thank you so much for streaming with us. Up in the next hour, the latest in the search for a passenger who fell from a cruise ship 500 miles from the shore, and the high cost of freezing eggs, the push that could help make the process more affordable.
This is ABC News Live Prime.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Live reporting, breaking news, exclusives, award-winning, powerful, eye-opening. ABC News Live Prime with Lindsay Davis, streaming weeknights. Right now in America, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings. This is where the newsmakers come first in the morning to be heard. America's #1 morning show.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
Wherever the story, ABC's Good Morning America is right there.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital. Destructive Cat 4 storm.
Here along I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7 straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
You never know what you're going to get on this show. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yes, Whoopi!
This mic on? Can you hear me out there?
Behind the scenes is always a better show.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what people don't see during the commercial break.
Right, they don't.
What happened?
I had no idea really what I was getting myself into.
That day that we walked out, I treasure that day. I couldn't sit there.
You're doing good, Joy. You're doing good.
Oh, yeah, baby. It was crazy.
Behind the Table. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it. Had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the nah girl, you're good.
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Hi there, I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're monitoring several developments here at ABC News at this hour. In Wisconsin, BNSF Railway confirmed a train derailment this afternoon. The video shows multiple freight trains' cars are turned on their side near the village of Ferryville. BNSF Railway confirmed in a statement that all crew members have been accounted for, with one undergoing a medical evaluation. The main track is blocked in both directions, and it's unclear when the track will reopen. The Coast Guard is calling off the search for a passenger who fell from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship about 500 miles off the coast of Hawaii. An Australian passenger fell overboard from the Quantum of the Seas. The ship was sailing from Australia to Honolulu. Royal Caribbean says it's working with authorities, hoping to find the missing passenger. Legendary talk show host Jerry Springer, who helped push the boundaries of daytime television, has died. He was the mayor of Cincinnati, a news anchor, and of course hosted his namesake show that unleashed chaos to viewers across the country. It was a ratings giant for 27 years. Next is the detention hearing for the Massachusetts Air National Guardsman accused of leaking classified documents. Today, prosecutors argue Jack Teixeira should remain behind bars because he's too dangerous to release and a flight risk. Trevor Ault reports.
In federal court today, prosecutors urging the judge to keep 21-year-old Jack Teixeira behind bars, calling him a serious flight risk who presents an ongoing threat to the nation. Their court filing painting a dark picture of a young man with racist and violent inclinations with a virtual arsenal of weapons at his parents' home, including bolt-action rifles, AR and AK-style weapons, and a bazooka. The DOJ says Teixeira once wrote in the online group where he allegedly leaked those classified documents, "If I had my way, I'd kill an expletive ton of people," that he claimed he was tempted to turn a minivan into an assassination van, and that in 2018 he was suspended from high school for remarks about weapons, including Molotov cocktails, guns at the school, and racial threats. They claim that prompted local police to deny him a firearms ID card, but still he managed to join the Massachusetts Air National Guard and gain top secret clearance. Prosecutors now accuse Teixeira of accessing far more secret information than the hundreds of pages he allegedly posted online, searching the classified government database almost daily, sometimes from a computer at his mother's home. They say once the news got out, he tried to cover his tracks, smashing his laptop and iPad, replacing his phone, deleting his posts, and telling members of his group not to talk to authorities. Prosecutors warn if Teixeira were to be released on bail, it would be all too easy for him to further disseminate classified information or to flee to a foreign country like Edward Snowden, who now lives in Russia. Today, Teixeira's father told the judge if his son were allowed to stay with him while awaiting trial, he would report any violations of the terms of release, insisting all firearms had been removed from the house. Teixeira's lawyers declare their client is not a flight risk, and that when Teixeira learned the feds were onto him, he didn't run away. He sat on the porch reading the Bible, waiting to be arrested.
Our thanks to Trevor for that. Now to the severe weather threat continuing to threaten the southern United States. 15 million people on alert. And now the Midwest is bracing as those storms and snow melt threaten to push the Mississippi over its banks. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is in St. Paul, Minnesota tonight.
Tonight, those severe storms slamming the south for a third straight day, with a life-threatening tornado reported in the Florida Panhandle.
Shelter now. Shelter now. Not a question. Do it now. You got a tornado moving in your direction.
These homes in Hosford, Florida, taking a direct hit. Roofs gone, trees snapped like toothpicks. In Panama City Beach, at least one person reportedly struck by lightning this afternoon.
What happened?
And a lightning strike in Fort Worth Wednesday, sending 2 boys to the hospital. Neighbors rushing the 7- and 13-year-old in. Those same storms brought huge hail to Dublin, Texas. Livestock running for cover. And 85-mile-per-hour winds hammering Melbourne, Florida Wednesday, and more hail than many have ever seen. As those storms make their way into the Northeast, the fast-rising Mississippi River is flooding towns in the heartland.
Here at the St. Paul downtown airport, that lit up X is to tell pilots do not land here because this runway is closed in part because they put up this temporary flood wall to keep the river back.
Record-breaking snowfall now melting, forcing rivers over their banks and into neighborhoods in towns like Moline to Davenport, where the river won't crest until next week.
Thanks to Rob for that. And here in New York, the intense cross-examination of columnist E. Jean Carroll in her civil suit accusing former President Trump of sexual assault and defamation. Trump's lawyer attacking her motive and her waiting so long to speak out, but also questioning why she's unable to say for sure when the alleged assault took place. ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky is at the courthouse.
Tonight, Donald Trump's attorney grilling E. Jean Carroll, accusing her of making up a rape story to sell a book. You thought including the story about Donald Trump while he was still president would help sell the book? Defense attorney Joe Tacopina asked. I thought so, Carroll replied, but I was wrong. The book never sold well. Carroll said the reason she decided to tell her story after more than 2 decades was not money, but the Me Too movement. When a wave of women came forward to tell their stories of abuse, Carroll says it caused me to realize that staying silent does not work. For hours, Tacopina tried to pick apart Carroll's claim that Trump attacked her in a department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. He questioned why she never called police and pressed her on why she couldn't say exactly when the alleged attack occurred. Carroll answering, I wish to heaven we could give you a date. Carroll was consistent and composed, losing patience only when Tacopina asked her why she didn't scream during the alleged attack. You were in this battle and you never screamed for help, he asked her. I'm not a screamer, Carroll responded. People always ask, why didn't you scream? Some women scream, some don't. He raped me whether I screamed or not.
Our thanks to Aaron for that. 3 18-year-olds accused of killing a young woman in a rock-throwing spree in Colorado appeared before a judge today. Court documents allege chilling new details, including that one of the teens took a photo of the victim's car, quote, as memento. ABC's Mola Lange has the latest.
Tonight, new details emerging as 3 teens face first-degree murder charges in that deadly rock-throwing spree outside Denver, Colorado. According to an arrest affidavit, suspect Mitch Karolchik telling police he was traveling in a pickup truck with Zachary Kwok and Joe Koenig as they hurled rocks at passing cars. This rock, police say, crashing through Alexa Bartel's windshield, fatally striking her in the head. Karolchik and Kwok allegedly telling police The trio drove back to the crime scene moments later to take a picture of Bartel's car as a memento. The affidavit also says Carol Chick admitted to throwing objects at cars with Koenig since last February, at least on 10 separate days, and that, according to Kwok, after Bartel's car was struck, the other two were talking about them now being blood brothers, agreeing to not speaking of the incident again. Police say cell phone tower data and tips from the public led them to the high school seniors. The spree last week hitting 7 cars in just 45 minutes, among them Nathan Tipton's minivan.
If it was a second earlier, it would have come at my window and hit me. Either square in the chest or maybe even the face.
Our thanks to Mola. Now to the National Infertility Awareness Week and the high cost of egg freezing. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has a story that was first reported on by the New York Times about how to make the process more affordable.
Spring Inez Pena wanted an insurance policy for her fertility that wouldn't break the bank, so she took her egg freezing international to get a better deal.
And I figured, you know, Spain might be a nice little European relaxed vacation where I can go and do this very important procedure.
Pena, a 36-year-old from Los Angeles, is one of many Americans who packed her bags and headed to Barcelona. In Europe, the median cost of egg freezing is about 40% of the cost in the U.S. In Spain, it's even less expensive.
It naturally makes sense that a lot of women have been catching on to this, and whether they have friends or family abroad, they're traveling for work, or they just want to take a trip somewhere else and save some money, they're choosing to go to a cheaper location.
About 1,000 women a month clicking on a guide to international egg freezing on Freeze Health, a free resource allowing women to compare clinics. While some women are looking for lower prices, others are looking to couple egg freezing with crossing a country off their bucket list. The hottest countries right now, Mexico and Spain.
If you're looking to stay close to the U.S. and perhaps in the same time zone, maybe for work purposes, then Mexico tends to be the best option. If you're looking to travel to Europe, then Spain, and specifically Barcelona, tends to be one of the hottest cities with the most options, the most reasonable prices, and also just does the most volume of egg freezing.
Some women even inviting friends and making it a girls' trip. In 2020, over 12,000 women froze their eggs. But national data on success rates are scarce. One study finding the frozen egg live birth rate to be around 42%.
It's not a panacea. It is not a guarantee. The largest challenges after the egg is frozen, it's supposed to be a backup. That's all it's designed for.
Aside from the physical challenges, freezing eggs abroad has its downsides. The language barrier, for one. Spring found herself lonely during a time her body was pumped full of hormones. But ultimately, she says, it was worth it.
And so with the vacation included and 2 cycles, since I did end up doing 2, that ended up being what it would have cost for me to do it here in LA, 1 cycle with no European vacation included. So it was about half price.
Our thanks to Eva for that. WNBA star Brittany Griner got emotional today. She spoke to reporters for the first time since her imprisonment in Russia. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman was at the news conference in Phoenix.
Brittany Griner walked into a room full of journalists and months of anticipation. There was an ovation. And with her first comments to reporters about her 10 months of detention in Russia, tears.
I'm no stranger to hard times, so you're going to be faced with adversities throughout your life. This was a pretty big one.
Today, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and Washington Post all running ads demanding Russia release detained Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, calling his arrest the latest in a disturbing trend. I asked Griner about that.
During your detention, were you aware of all of the efforts on your behalf? And what message would you send to Evan and Paul Whelan today?
Yes, I was aware. It made me a little bit have hope, which is a really hard thing to have. And I would say to everyone that is wrongfully detained right now across the world, stay strong, keep fighting.
Matt Gutman joins us now. Matt, we heard Griner talk about other wrongfully detained Americans in your report. Are there any developments in those cases?
Not enough, Lindsay. I think they will say that. Advocates will say that as well. There are 53 Americans wrongfully detained worldwide right now, according to the official statistics. But tonight, for the first time, President Biden announcing sanctions that specifically target nations that have wrongfully detained Americans. And that comes on the same day that Evan Gershkovich was denied consular access in Russia. Now, Griner and the Mercury, their season starts next month, and they've dedicated it largely to the wrongfully detained. Lindsay.
For good reason. All right. Matt Gutman for us. Thanks so much, Matt. Still much more to get to. Coming up 100 years after its introduction, the Senate votes on the Equal Rights Amendment. Actress Lisa Ann Walter, who's been working to get the bill passed, tells us why she believes it's taking so long to gain enough support. But next, a woman is arrested for allegedly killing more than a dozen people through poisoning. How police say she was connected to the victims.
Whenever news breaks,
the crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Bring them on.
If only there was a place in the morning to start my day. With a smile, somewhere to help me get in the know. A place as spectacular as, well, me.
I think we might know a place, right, guys? Bring your friends.
Oh, wait, there is.
Good morning, America.
GMA, 7A, every day. Boom, boom, boom.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning, America. How are you?
Boom. Now that's how you start your day, people.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Reporting from Manhattan, I'm Diane Macedo. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Sudan's two warring groups said on Thursday they would prolong a ceasefire agreement by 72 hours, but violence again rocked the capital of Khartoum and the western region of Darfur as the U.S. said ceasefire violations were worrying. Hundreds have died and tens of thousands of people have fled for their lives in 2 weeks of conflict between the army and its rival, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Thai police have arrested a Thai woman suspected of murdering more than a dozen victims with cyanide, all of whom police say were known as her friends or close to her. The police added that it's believed that the suspect committed the crimes due to financial reasons. She has since denied all accusations. Peru declared a state of emergency at border regions as it grapples with predominantly Venezuelan migrants coming in from Chile who are seeking passage through the country. Authorities announced the state of emergency would affect 7 border regions with Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, and Bolivia. According to official reports in Peru, there are between 300 to 400,000 Venezuelans with undocumented status in Peru who entered via Ecuador. Next, it's been 100 years since the Equal Rights Amendment was introduced on the Senate floor to guarantee equal protection for women under the Constitution. After it was introduced, it took another 50 years for it to pass the House and Senate, but the historic measure didn't meet a critical 38-state threshold to be ratified into the Constitution before a 1982 deadline. Today, the Senate held a vote to remove that deadline and enshrine equal protection for women into the Constitution. Yet, here we are in 2023, and a vote granting women equal rights in America failed to to meet a 60-vote threshold. Joining us now is one of the stars of ABC's Abbott Elementary and a lifelong equal rights advocate, Lisa Ann Walter, who's been working with the ERA Coalition to get this measure over the finish line. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a disappointing day for so many. Let's just start with asking your reaction to the outcome of today's vote and if you were surprised.
Not surprised, Lindsay, and thank you for having me. In a way, it's disappointing, but I'll tell you what. First of all, that you're doing the story is a step in the right direction because there were a lot of news outlets that weren't even discussing it. And as someone who started marching for this when I was a little girl, and I'm not kidding, I mean 8 years old, because I grew up in D.C., and we would be out there with our signs. I was so young, my picket signs were in crayon. I would go right from playing Barbies and Easy Bake Oven to incredibly feminist activities, obviously, to going in and marching for the ERA because to me, it didn't make sense that women were not equal, guaranteed equal rights under our Constitution. And it still doesn't make sense. But the reason why I am not despairing is because the new generation of voters, these kids that are coming up, and I say kids because everybody's a kid to me, the young voters that will not stand for this will now take their power at the ballot box and vote for people that it doesn't make sense to them either that women don't have equal protections. I don't get it. There were 47 Republicans that said, yeah, women being equal, that's nuts.
But what does it say to you, though, that in 2023, the Equal Rights Amendment fails just as women's reproductive rights are being pulled back at an unprecedented rate? Do you think that one is emblematic of the other?
100%. And I think that's what people fail to understand. The argument on the other side from what I hear is, well, there are all these laws to protect you. Why are you crying? Why do you really need that amendment that says we are equal? Well, A, because it is necessary. We see the way the laws are going, but it absolutely informs all of the other constitutional rights that we see women going backwards on, that we see us losing. So if we want to be guaranteed these equal rights under our Constitution, like every American should have, we need to make sure the ERA passes. And I can't understand anybody who doesn't make this a critical voting point in the next election. It's crazy to me that we're out there. If you see the old broads like me out there when at the women's marches, we're carrying signs that say, I can't believe I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
We joke about the idea that men are like, women being equal, forget it. But is it that simple? I mean, have you heard any lawmaker who's given you any kind of rationale to say, you know what, this is why I don't support the Equal Rights Amendment and I'm standing by it?
No, Lindsay. And you know what? I think that's what it boils down to. You know, we had two Republicans, Murkowski and Collins. Murkowski introduced this bill, or was one of the co-authors of it. And it's just taking away an arbitrary timeline. The country obviously wants it. And that would absolutely be the question that I would ask lawmakers who today voted against their daughters, their wives, their sisters, their mothers, that they committed in front of God and the country. I don't think women should be equal. I would love to ask them why, because I have a sneaky suspicion that it might have something to do with guaranteeing us equal pay. And if you get enough lobbyists that talk to these people, they're going to vote against the rights of the not just the women in their lives, but their constituents. So it's time to vote against people that don't think that we deserve to make the same money for the same job.
Senator Chuck Schumer said after the vote, this is too important, we're not going to give up. Can you tell us what the next steps are within your coalition as far as getting this legislation to move forward?
100%. And Chuck Schumer is right. And he even procedurally voted against it so that he would have avenue to bring it back to the floor. We are not done. We are just getting started. Ask any woman, ask any feminist, because there are lots of men that believe in this too. Have we given up yet? No. We will keep pushing until we have enough votes to pass this and make it part of our Constitution that women have every single right that men do. And I think that if people want to find out how they can help, whether it's to get involved, whether it's to make sure that their candidates that they want to support think that this is just as important as they do, go to eracoalition.com. You can find out how to get involved. Come join me out there talking about this. And listen, I was not a popular 8-year-old talking about this in school. It's not like it is now when it's cool to be a feminist. I was shamed and made fun of, but now it's cool. So get involved. Donate if you can, eracoalition.com. Please, it is nothing more important than to be considered equal.
Lisa Ann Walter, thank you so much for your time tonight. Really a delight to talk to you.
Thank you.
And still to come, how would you ring in your 100th birthday? One World War II veteran got a sky-high celebration.
Almond Mom is a little bit bought into diet culture, but it tends to veer on the side of overdoing it.
I had to hit spin class, I had to earn this food.
To be in a restrictive mode with food is almost like the worst joke ever.
Food should not be good or bad.
Every soul's body is important, no matter what size it is.
Where body positivity has the potential to become detrimental is the nah girl, you're good.
Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. Right now in America, with so much at stake, thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back. Turning 100 is quite an amazing feat. And to celebrate the occasion, a World War II Army veteran in New Jersey climbed right back into the pilot seat. Our partner station WPVI in Philadelphia brings us this story in tonight's Local Lowdown.
There he is, 100 years old. He's still going up.
I flew during the Second World War. I flew B-26s for 32 missions, and then I flew light airplanes out of Orly Field in Paris. I enjoyed it very much. Through a few bumps, yes. Today I am going to take a flight and fly an airplane.
Good thing you have all those years experience.
It's something that once you learn, I'm ready, Bob. It's pretty easy to maintain it. They fit pretty well. I hope I get it on the ground. That's going to feel great.
Get that show on the road. Let's go. Dad and Mom were married for 65 years. They had 13 children, 31 grandchildren, and then there's 40 great-grandchildren. Come on, Dad. Get over that tree. He just got a great attitude about life. Goes to church every day, too, by the way. Probably prays for all of us.
Hi, JJ.
My family comes from a long line of people.
Good grip.
And he is the one that inspires me the most.
It's an excitement just to see all the family here. Oh. I'm glad to be here for them. Usually families don't get along like this one does, and I thank God for that. Thank you all for even coming out.
We're so proud of you.
Happy 100th birthday for Carl. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. Have a great night. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families